Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, gratefully recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share with anybody you think might get something out of it. On that Friday, then again, guys, how we all doing? What a great day. Rainy morning, but as you all know, Friday's my home group. I'm going to start announcing every week. It's the gratitude group. We meet Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 at 66 Harvard Street, University Lutheran Church in Harvard Square, right behind Pinocchio's. Friday is my favorite meetings when I go to. I chair, obviously. And it was a great meeting today, guys. It was a really good meeting. We did the reading. It was a good sized crowd. A lot of newcomers again this week. A bunch of people speaking during Burning Desire, and just getting their feelings out, and just feels good to be part of the crowd. I love my meeting. I'm always so excited to go there. Again, 2 weeks in a row, I'm gonna miss my NA meetings. My day ran late, but guys, I shared the other day about the miraculous thing with my vision, and I was meeting with my therapist today, and I mentioned it to him, and he was so blown away by it. He started researching it, and come to find out there's science behind it. In rare cases, and again, he researched it, I didn't, so I might be a little wrong on some of this, but the gist of it was, y'all know when you're using a lot of opiates, your pupils restrict. It's one of the things officers look for and whatnot, or constrict rather. Well, apparently, with certain vision deterioration, that usage of opiates in prolonged, drawn out time spans actually has a healing effect in your eyes if and when you get into recovery, and it's exactly what I'm experiencing. So my vision has improved now that I'm sober, and part of it was the constriction, the constant constriction of my pupils during opiate use. And again, there's science behind it, so I know I'm not wrong, but I still see it as just a gift from my higher power. In other words, if something is possible for good to come out of the damage that I did and the wreckage that I created of my own life, because I'm doing so well in recovery and I'm so faithful and I just have such a positive attitude. That's what I mean, guys. Like, the things you can't count on. What are the chances that worked out in my life? Well, because of the life I'm living today, I'm really good, and exactly what happened. As crazy as it may be, and people can talk it away all you want, but again, everything that can go right in my life goes right today. And that was never the case in my life in any way, shape, or form, but it's what I've come to expect, and it's because gratitude, positive attitude, looking for the good in life, and it just invites good things into your life in ways that I can't explain, and you can, if I dig deep enough, I'll find some correlation, but just the benefits speak for themselves, and again, makes me feel like I'm walking with a team of angels, and just shows me how incredibly blessed I am, and I'm so grateful for that. But again, it's only because of the work that I'm doing today. So as long as I continue to do what I'm doing and do more of it, more good things are going to come into my life, and I'm going to keep talking about it every day. So I hope you stick around for it. All right, guys, the reading today, love and fear as opposites. There were two really good readings. The Just for Today NA meditation reading was about meeting attendance, which is hugely important. But we did the daily reflection at the meeting today, and something I think is really good, so we're just going to go with that one. Love and fear as opposites. All these failings generate fear, a soul sickness in its own right. This is a great quote, guys. Fear knocked at the door, faith answered, no one was there. Right? Think about that. Fear knocked at the door, faith answered, no one was there. I don't know to whom this quote should be attributed, but it certainly indicates that fear is an illusion, one I have to create myself. I experienced fear in my life, and I mistakenly thought it was the mere presence of it. I experienced fear in my life, and I mistakenly thought that the mere presence of it made me a coward. I didn't know that one of the definitions of courage is the willingness to do the right thing in spite of fear. Courage, then, is not necessarily the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in the presence of it. During the times that I didn't have love in my life, I most assuredly had fear. To fear God is to be afraid of joy. In looking back, I realized the times that I most feared God, there was no joy in my life. As I learned not to fear God, I also learned to experience joy. Today, as my faith grows, my fear diminishes. And guys, that's something I talk about all the time, and it's absolutely true. Like when I take the time to reflect, which I do quite often these days, I see these things like at play in my life, and it's a beautiful feeling. One of the reasons I'm able to be so happy and upbeat is the fact that my faith, guys, faith is not something I can give to you. You've got to find it yourself. And for me, I realized I kind of had it all along, though I was denying it. It was just another area of my life that I just wasn't paying attention. When I honestly started to look at my life, and again, the fact it helps that the first time I said an open, honest prayer back a couple months before I got clean, I felt something click in my heart. I started hearing just and seeing things that were right in front of my face that I was ignoring forever. That was a spiritual awakening for me before I even got clean. So I was well on my way walking in, and doesn't mean I did everything right, and doesn't mean I'm special. It just means I found some sort of alignment. I'd found the willingness, and I'd reached I'd been given the gift of desperation. I'd found my real rock bottom. All the other rock bottoms that I talked about were always just a physical or material lack. Well, unfortunately, I had learned to live in those states of lack, and I'd only ever attempted recovery as a means to get a physical thing, a material thing, a roof over my head, a job. This time it was different. I still had the roof, still had the job, still living in the same roof. Much better job. Work for myself today. That was a gift. But it was the despair. It was the hatred for what I was doing, how I was living, that finally brought me in this time. It was a real internal spiritual rock bottom, and I'm so grateful for that because it gave me everything. Like basically, guys, I turned it over in the fact that I knew I was powerless. I could not do this anymore. I didn't think it was possible for me. And the second that I said that prayer, it connected to something, my higher power. Didn't understand it. Still don't always understand it. But as I started to see the changes, the manifestations, the fact that as soon as I would acknowledge something that I really did need, and not for a want, but a need, it would be delivered to me. And I'm like, wow, something's paying attention, because these coincidences are certainly not coincidences. They're just stacking up one after the other. And I could feel them in my heart. And maybe I was fooling myself at that point. It doesn't matter, because I started to believe, and that's the key here. When it comes to the higher power, it's faith. Faith is the strongest thing I've ever seen, because it's literally changed everything about my life. And now I see physical manifestations of it, like my vision being repaired, the hepatitis C being removed from my body. And that was one of the first things I found out, like the first month out of rehab. It wasn't like it was because, you could say my eyes, well, yeah, you've been healthy for 16 months, doing, eating good, seeing my doctors, being healthy, sleeping at night. Well, when I realized the hepatitis had been removed, I was just literally 30 days out of the worst run, like 8 years of absolute debauchery. The last 2 years of that run, I wasn't sleeping for 16 days in Iraq, and then I'd fall asleep for 3 days. Like I was knocking at death's door. So it wasn't like my body was so healthy I was fighting something off. But yet, all of a sudden, I come in, and as soon as I turned it over to recovery and started doing anything good, the first blood test they gave me, boom, no longer have hepatitis C. My body fought it off. That was a gift from God, and it was a huge one for me. I felt so amazingly plugged in, and my faith just tripled in that moment. And that's what it is, guys. Maybe there's another explanation for the hepatitis being removed, and I found a reasonable explanation for my vision improvement. But the fact that these things keep happening are because my faith continues to grow. And the more, again, like I say it all the time, guys, what we seek, we find. I stopped looking for excuses and just said, yes, you know what? Because again, I had to look honestly and say, well, what happened here? And when I started one by one looking at, like, this started when I was 15, what happened here? What happened here? And just going through the progression, it was very, very humbling. And it was the first time I'd ever told or looked at any of these things from anything other than a victim mentality. Because that's all I was ever trying to do, was excuse the mistakes that I made, because they just made me feel shitty about myself. Well, this time I said, no. Letting that stack up for all those years brought me to a level of hatred for myself that I can never allow myself to get to again. So I started just taking ownership because it made me feel a little bit better. Because suddenly, at least, my life made sense. Before I get into recovery this time, I'm looking at it and I'm literally thinking I'm cursed. And I used to say these things. Oh, I must have, stomped a baby in a past life. Like, literally, these are the things I would justify myself to explain the conditions that I put myself into. And that's all it was, guys. I was reckless. I was not living to any moral code that I had in me, and I buried it, and I was ignoring it, but it was there, and I was just stomping on it every day. I didn't believe that I had any future, so I didn't take any precautions. I was incredibly reckless, and just doing horrible things, and then poisoning myself, and then refusing to look at it, and so nothing made sense. When all of a sudden I got, in rehab, it was tough, it was overwhelming, but I'm looking at it, and things made sense. And ironically, it was every workshop that I participated in, because again, it was magic to me at that point. But now I look back and say, well, of course, billions of dollars, a million, whatever, I'm not going to put a figure. A lot of money had been spent researching addiction and recovery, and these people put together programs that would apply to everybody that had been in similar situations like I had. Well, as soon as I started applying myself and being honest with these work groups, I started getting good answers and things started to make sense for me. But at the time when suddenly something makes sense and it seems like magic. I've been able to not say it's all one or all the other, and I understand today that it's a multi-layered recovery thing. My higher power is a huge part of it because I have to believe. If you leave it on my shoulders, the only thing I can go by is my experience, and I go back to 35 years of stacking losses and not being able to do these things on my own. So how do I believe for a second this is going to work? Well, no, I invite a power that is unfathomable, unmeasurable, and unimaginable into my life. And that's all it took, guys. Being honest, admitting that I needed help, and then dropping to my knees and asking for the help. Then suddenly things started just dropping in my lap. So my faith doubled. And then I did a little more, it literally, I would watch different videos and whatever showed up on my feed, but I was talking a lot of good things, so a lot of recovery things showing up. And I would get these, information from videos that just, every morning pick up your feet and go out and do something. Because again, when I looked at it, well, yeah, if I'm sitting in my house, bad things happen. I'm not going to build a network. I'm not going to learn anything. So I would get up, and there was also a balance there. If I couldn't find something good to do, then that meant I had to sit home and learn to sit with myself. But that means practice the stuff that I'd learned previously. And then every morning get up and take that step to go outside and find something positive to do to make me feel better about myself. If it was as simple as just going for a walk and smiling at people, at least I'm not sitting in my house. I was getting good experience, right? Well, the more I did, the more I started plugging in. Again, found my home group, started my videos. All day long when I'm going out and doing work, I'd see a car broken down, I'd pull over and go out of my way to help them out. All these things started showing me that I like to be of service, so boom, I signed up for a service position in my group. I started my service business. I started just challenging myself to do better as all these things started getting bigger. And guys, I'm on a 16-month run of just what some people would call the most incredible luck. No, I don't call it luck anymore. I call it alignment. And again, you could excuse and make up a justification for any one thing of it when it's day in and day out. It's nothing. I'm so bought in, you can't tell me otherwise. It's faith. It's miracles. Yes, they have scientific backing. So does everything. Nothing happens without the physics behind it working. So yeah, you could say, well, this, that, the other. But the fact that they all keep happening to me, it was, winning that raft rent help. It was, it was almost a year ago because I think it was the day before my birthday last year. I won $22,000 on an online roulette wheel. Guys, I never won anything. I watched a video one night and said, if you believe you are truly blessed, tomorrow morning go play a cheap scratch ticket and you're going to win. I went and I got a $2 scratch ticket. Boom, won $20. Like, boom. Like, okay. These messages are for me. That's all it takes. What I'm trying to tell you is, guys, you can't stop everything from happening in your life, but you can make your own luck by being happy, by being grateful, by being kind, being compassionate, believing, being faithful, being the best version of yourself. Guys, I'm living proof of it. That's why I get on here and I push it so hard every day. because it has changed my life. It has given me purpose. It's given me passion. It's given me, my health has been restored. I look 10 years younger than I did a year and a half ago because I keep thanking God for it every day. And in my prayers, I thank God for the blessings that are coming that I don't know what they are yet, but that make sure they keep coming because, guys, what we believe, our brains are computers. We are powerful manifestors. And I'm not trying to get all woo-woo with you. I'm talking physically. I'm not saying $1 million is going to drop out of the sky. Maybe a few it will. I'm not that capable. But good things keep happening in my life because I keep getting up every day and being of service, being grateful, being kind, sharing my joy with others, uplifting others anywhere I can, not thinking I'm better than anybody else, not thinking that somebody else is below me and that they aren't deserving of my kindness or my help. Everybody, we're all family, guys. And what I used to say in a lot of my early videos, we all bleed red. We're all the same. There's only one family, the human race. But all these different things. I believe that today, guys, and I live that today. And I go to my meeting and I talk to so many newcomers at the end of the meeting. This is how I stay plugged in. It's how I keep blessings coming into my life. What I'm trying to say, guys, is when you get out of your own way, stop putting, first of all, put your needs first. Not your wants, but your needs. Fulfill your needs, but be kind and do it wherever possible. Do it in a way that it helps somebody else. Just hold the door, smile, be honest. You gotta be honest with yourself or you can't change things. I see people come in that are struggling and they find their way because blind faith. They just take the suggestions. They believe it's possible. And I see others that have all the knowledge in the world and just keep spinning the wheels on the same thing because they're closed-minded and they think they have it all. They think they know it all. And they just don't get it. And it's so hard to watch that when you can't impart the wisdom to somebody. Be open-minded. Be willing to believe. Guys, have faith. Yes, it's scary sometimes. The fear of the unknown. Fear of facing our past mistakes. Admitting what we did. But again, fear knocks at the door. Faith answers. There's nobody there. What that means is when you have faith, you have nothing to fear. Only good is going to come. You're still going to face your challenges, but you got a team of angels surrounding you to carry you through them. And at the end of it, you've got the experience of knowing you can. I had so much fear in the early days walking around. I was afraid to start the channel. I was afraid of what I looked like on camera. I was afraid to go sit, speak up in a meeting. I don't have any of that fear today. I love my meeting. I love getting there early and opening the door to greet people, to uplift others, to be a part of it, to build new relationships, to go to find new meetings, to go out and live my life today. It didn't happen overnight, but it was faith that brought me here. When you have strong faith, every bit of faith you get, as your faith increases, your fear diminishes. Like it's just you can only, it just works, guys. Build your faith, but you have to do it for yourself. It's not something I can give you. The more faith you have, the less fear you'll have. I promise you that. Give it a shot. It just works. Guys, that's the video for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.